everyone! Today, I'm going to tell you a story about a little girl and a little boy who got lost in a forest. Wanna find out what happened to them? Listen as I read the story entitled Hansel and Gretel. Hansel and Gretel. Once upon a time, there lived on the edge of a dark forest a poor woodcutter, his wife, and 2 children. The little boy was called Hansel, and the little girl's name was Gretel. When the children were small, the woodcutter had lots of work, and everyone had plenty to eat. But sad to say, their happiness did not last. The woodcutter's wife died, and the poor man chose another who turned out to be cruel and selfish. One day, a great famine came to the land, leaving everyone short of food. The poor woodcutter was very worried as they had only 1 piece of bread left. His family would soon starve. Hansel and Gretel's cruel stepmother made sure that she wouldn't starve. Tomorrow morning, take the children to the thickest part of the forest and leave them, she said. Someone may come along and take pity of them, and perhaps give them some food, for if they stay with us, they will starve anyway. She pleaded and argued so much that the woodcutter was forced to agree with her evil suggestion. Hansel and Gretel had not been able to sleep because they were so hungry, and they heard every word their parents had said. "Don't cry, Gretel," said the boy to his little sister, "for I have thought of a plan to find our way home again." The moon was shining brightly as Hansel climbed out of his bedroom window and jumped down onto the path. He filled both his pockets with small white pebbles, then crept quietly back to bed. Early next morning, the poor woodcutter led his children deeper and deeper into the forest. Clever Hansel trailed behind, pretending to be watching the birds. Every so often, he let fall a shiny white pebble from his pocket. When it grew dark, the woodcutter built a huge fire. His children were so tired that they fell asleep in front of it. When they woke up, their father had gone. Little Gretel was very frightened and began to cry. "Don't worry," Hansel told his sister. "Wait until the moon comes out." Once the moon had risen, the children could see the pebbles shining brightly on the forest path. They followed them, and by morning they were home. Their father was overjoyed to see his dear children again. But the cruel stepmother was very angry because her plan had failed. It wasn't long before she began to argue and plead with the woodcutter once more. "There's not enough food left to feed us all," she screamed. "Get rid of your children or we shall all die." This time, to make sure the woodcutter made no more mistakes, the stepmother went along to see that Hansel and Gretel were left to die in the forest. However, she did not notice Hansel throwing down tiny crumbs of bread onto the forest path. Once again, the woodcutter made the children a roaring fire, and once again, they both fell fast asleep. When the children woke up and found themselves alone, they began to search for all the breadcrumbs. But alas, the birds had eaten them all up. Poor Hansel and Gretel, they sat down and cried themselves to sleep by the fire. In the morning, when it grew light, the two set off to find their way home. In fact, they were just walking round in circles, deeper and deeper into the forest. It was then that Hansel noticed a tiny white bird sitting on the branch. The bird began to sing, "Follow me, follow me." It flew in front of the children until it reached a little house in a clearing. It was the most unusual house you could dream of. The walls were made of gingerbreads and the roof of cake and biscuits. The windows were sugar and the doors were peppermint sticks. Hansel and Gretel were so hungry that they began to eat bits and pieces of the house. Then the door opened and an old woman hobbled out. At first, the children drew back in fear. "Come inside, my dears," she smiled, "and I will after you." The old woman cooked them a lovely dinner and showed them two little beds covered with soft pillows and blankets. That night, the children fell asleep, thinking they were safe and sound at last. Poor Hansel and Gretel, they had fallen right into a trap. The old woman was really a witch, whose favorite food was children. Very early next morning, the witch grabbed the sleeping Hansel and locked him in a cage. Next, she shook Gretel hard. "Wake up, girl, and cook your brother a huge breakfast. When he is fat enough, I shall eat him." Day after day went by. Gretel had to cook huge meals to fatten up her brother. Now the witch was very short-sighted. Every morning, she would make Hansel stick his finger out of the cage, just to see how much he had grown. But the boy was crafty. Instead of his finger, he would poke a chicken bone through the bars. "You're still too thin!" she would scream and make Gretel cook even more food. Week after week went by until the witch couldn't wait no longer. "I shall eat him right away!" she cackled. Without wasting a moment, the old witch dragged Gretel into the kitchen. She made the terrified girl stroke the fire until the oven was red hot. "Is the oven ready for toasting?" called the witch shrewdly. "I cannot tell," answered Gretel, pretending not to understand. This made the witch very angry. "Stupid girl!" she cried as she pulled Gretel across the room. "This is how it's done!" And the witch bent over and stuck her head in the oven. Gretel gave her one great push, and the evil witch fell inside and was burned to a crisp. Swiftly, Gretel freed her brother from that awful cage, and the children danced for joy. Before they left for home, they found a pile of gold hidden in the witch's cottage. Then, as if by magic, a new path opened up through the forest. It led to a broad river where a great white duck was waiting to take them across. Very soon, they saw their house through the trees. Their wicked stepmother had died, and their father was a sad and sorry man. Luckily, Hansel and Gretel soon forgot about the wicked witch. They forgave their poor father and all lived happily ever after.